Welcome back, Tasties and Taste Tests, to another episode of FTWGT Weekly. It's your boy Lenny, joined again, as always, with my producer extraordinaire, the fanatic of foot jobs himself, Dante. How are you?
Yeah, no, I'm not co-signing that one.
You did last week. Don't
I mean,
forget.
you do have
I-
feet.
I just
Yeah.
forgot to deny it.
I meant like pedicures.
Never gotten one of those either.
Let's do a team one at some point. It'll be a bonding thing. In this
Yeah.
week, we are joined by a special guest, our guy D Ray in the building.
Yo, what up?
I was thinking if we like,
Ray.
I was thinking it'd be cool if your stage name was like Ray D.
Ray D, huh?
Yeah,
Most people just throw out like DJ D Ray or something like that.
yeah, that one was an easy one. Radiant, that could be like a
Ooh.
gamer tag, dude.
I like Radiant.
Cool.
Something that I will never get in Valorant because I never play it.
Oh fuck,
Mm.
I don't understand that game. Doesn't make sense to me. So
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan either.
It's just Counter-Strike with power-ups.
yeah, another game I guess I don't really like. I watched that game and I've never understood the hype around it. Like when I watch people play it.
It's I'll definitely say like I was heavily into Counter-Strike when I was a lot younger. It is an incredibly fun game to play when you're in it, but I do agree. Trying to like watch like the tournaments or like Twitch scene now, not all that entertaining.
Yeah, it just looks so slow and like the graphics aren't great on it either. So like visually, it's not like doesn't like draw you in, and yeah, the speed's not enough. And like I also don't understand like there was like a really big I feel like fad last summer. It kind of peaked because what had like a new version come out like last summer or something. I don't know, but I feel like breaking packs became super popular again last summer.
Breaking packs?
Like yeah, like doing the
the crates.
The crates, yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. I was speaking in Pokemon slang, I guess.
They came out with, I don't remember the release date, but yeah, Counter-Strike 2.
Yeah.
It's essentially it's the same game, same maps, maybe some updated like physics and graphics. I just remember seeing like videos of like the new smoke grenades, which looked pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw those. Yeah, I don't know, whatever. Can I ask you guys a question? Would you guys have you guys ever shopped on Temu, or would you shop on Temu?
I have.
Is that where you got your sign?
No.
That was an Etsy purchase, huh?
It was.
Are the people going to see what I'm talking about?
No, they're not.
All right, well, so he can't hide this from the people any longer. What Dante has failed to tell us for months now is that he has a sign of his logo to the right of him. So I feel like that's got to mean you're streaming again at some point.
I've had that from when I first started streaming.
Well, no, but you'll be back. Yeah, you'll be back. But I only ask because I get those like Instagram ads for Temu quite often, and I'm always tempted. Like they're always really cool bed frames.
I will say, when you order shit from Temu, prepare to be disappointed. It's never as good quality as it seems to be in the picture.
Are we talking like IKEA? Like what are we?
I've never ordered furniture from there, so I don't know.
Yeah, like I saw a cool ass bed frame earlier, and I was like, "Damn! Like I really need a new bed frame." I didn't.
And then you sit on it once and collapses.
Yeah. Like, well, and when I moved out, when like what 10 years ago now, I had gotten like a bed from IKEA, and it was sweet for like 3 months, and then it just slowly started to like feel like it was gonna fall over every time I got in it.
Yeah.
So you're saying don't do it?
For something like that, no.
Yeah, I've never shopped on there. In all honesty, I didn't really even know what the app was, but kind of like to what you were saying, there was a big influx of just Temu ads on my Instagram or TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like 6 months ago. I haven't really had any since. But man, like the videos or whatever, the ads that I were getting were not enticing to me. They were just like stupid things where it was just like, click on this link, down Temu, or your mother's gonna break her ankle. I'm like, what the hell kind of ads are these? It's just like, all right, next. Like,
I didn't get those. I would have bought off of that one.
Yeah, well, I can't let that happen. I feel like Temu, it's like so. It's funny you say like Instagram or TikTok because that's definitely the two places I see it, and it's one of two things. So like Instagram ads from Temu are like, here's this wallet with a Swiss Army knife inside of it or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's useful, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
Defend myself if anybody wants to steal my wallet.
Or you want this wallet.
On TikTok, it's like download Temu and get these celebrity nudes are like the Temu ads I get on there.
They're selling nudes on Temu?
Yes, dude, this is what I'm saying. It's like the weirdest diversity. Like TikTok, they're like, you want to see these celebrity influencers? And they'll do the thing where it's like a solid image of like an iPhone screen, but then like it's like filtered in with like a semi-nude photo into it. It's tempting. I won't lie to you guys. I've thought about it. Do I just download the app?
It's just giving you like AI deep fakes of Sydney Sweeney.
That's what I assume. That's what I'm getting baited into. If I was to ever give into it, is like it's none of it's real. It's just completely fake. Like I assume Temu is not of the U.S.
No, Temu is straight from China. It's basically just a popularized version of like Alibaba or AliExpress.
I was going to say Alibaba was what I was assuming it was. All right. Well, I guess you guys have told me not to shop from there. Thank you for talking me down from that. I didn't even look at the cost of that bed, but I'm just so desperately in need for a bed. And I don't know if you guys have seen beds and bed frames to get a nice one, expensive as fuck. So
furniture in general.
Yeah. I sometimes look at Jordan's furniture because they always do those like they have like 60 months like no interest or like low interest financing or something.
Hey, you know, and like on the off chance, you know, those Red Sox win the World Series.
Yep.
Get your furniture for free.
Yeah, I don't think we've had a good year for that recently. No. So
no.
I'll time it up though. I'll time that one up right at some point.
Yeah, you're a gambler.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'll be gambling my money on is long-term furniture purchases. Without further ado, let's get into the episode, I guess. So this week we're gonna be talking Fall Guy, the Fall Guy, just Fall Guy.
It's the
some
Fall
topics.
Guy.
It is the Fall Guy. Know my pronouns. Some topics, and then we got the taste test. So let's kick it off with a little movie review. Dante, do you have box office pulled up by chance?
I do not, but I can get it.
Yeah, because I think that's an interesting part of this. So we went to an early showing, like now 6 days ago. So a while ago. It's still fresh in the brain though. And
for you.
I guess like this should have been foreshadowing, but there was probably in our theater like 15 people, 20 people.
Yeah, I'd say 15 to 20.
15. So kind of underwhelming, and I guess that should have given like a pretty good pulse for where the movie's going because like it has not performed very well from what I've seen.
Shit,
I think did 28 million if I remember correctly.
Domestic.
It's not alone though. I'm pretty sure it was just a bad overall weekend for movies.
Yeah, I mean Challengers is doing well still, but the budget on this movie is $130 million. So if you're coming out with your opening week and like arguably this is the launch of like summer box office season. Like I feel like that was meant to be kind of the kickoff. And if it's not performing, that's not very good. Maybe next week is like, or this week rather, with Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. That's more like your kickoff season. It's sad though. I mean, because like overall, like I had high hopes for this movie. I thought it was a movie that was going to perform well. I don't know what you guys thought before you went in to see it as far as like what it would do.
I mean, I definitely expected to perform well based on the amount of money they must have put into marketing because like you couldn't go anywhere without seeing an ad for this fucking movie. But that sucks, honestly.
Yeah. They had like pumped ads out for like every single movie that we went to had a Fall Guy trailer.
Not to mention like every YouTube ad I get or like ads on other platforms, like it was always Fall Guy.
Gosling and Emily Blunt were like on every single like interview show I feel like you could imagine too. What do you think it was? Because like do you think people still didn't know about it? Do you think people didn't care about this topic, like, or this type of movie? Like, what is it?
I think the problem is most of the ads just kind of framed it up as like a cookie cutter rom-com, and I don't think as many people are into that.
Dave, did you get cookie cutter rom com from this?
No, I'll be honest. So I remember seeing probably like the first trailer drop, maybe might have been like what, like 6 months ago or something like that, like quite a long way away. I watched the trailer and I feel like I saw a lot of action in the first trailer. And I got so excited. I was just like, yo, all right, like, you know what? Like, this is definitely something I want to see. And then it came up with like, oh, like coming out in May. And I was like, damn, I was like, that's so far away. Um, but no, I got super excited the first time. And you know what? In my opinion, I feel like the movie itself lived up to the hype that I was expecting. And it just kind of sucks that, the general population didn't really feel that way.
Yeah, I definitely don't think cookie cutter is the way that I would describe it. Like, I definitely think they were like, hey, we have these two popular leads that seem to have very good chemistry, but it was framed around action to me. Like, it kind of had like, I'm trying to find the right movie. Like, because I don't know if this is a good example. Like I feel like Gerard Butler had a couple of those, like kind of like a blended rom com action movie, like maybe Bounty Hunter or something. The Bounty Hunter,
Mm.
sorry, pronouns again, and like the I looked at this movie as something that I thought would succeed because I thought it appealed to a broader audience because of the rom com aspect, but also having the action. So it seemed like a happy compromise to me for a movie that both like genders would want to go and check out. And
Hmm.
you also have like a guy like Ryan Gosling that I think has proven to a male audience that he is appealing, but also like Ryan Gosling's in one of my favorite rom coms ever. Like Crazy Stupid Love is a top five probably for me for rom
Great,
coms,
great movie.
right? Like,
Great movie.
I think that that's one of the best ones that's like come out, in, at least in recent memory. And by recent, I still think it's like 13 years old at this point. But can you pull up one other thing for me, box office related, Dante? Can you look up box office performance from Ryan Gosling, like historically, to see what his
I was
best
gonna say
movies are?
I don't know exactly what his box office looks like, but I mean, off the top of my head, I don't really feel like he puts out any losing movies.
That's kind of my thought. Like Blade Runner, Driver, those two
Barbie,
immediately come to mind. Barbie, yeah. Like you'd also think he's riding a hot streak where he just had a movie that was geared heavily towards the female demographic that he's coming off of, that was popular for the past 7 or 8 months. Like he was still getting play with that a week and a half before the movie came out on like Saturday Night Live. You know, um,
hmm
so
I mean, his highest grossing box office movies are La La Land, Blade Runner, Crazy Stupid Love, Remember the Titans, The Big Short, The
yeah, Crazy
Notebook.
Stupid Love was up there for box office, huh?
and two of
Much as I love that movie, it just didn't seem like it was that big of like a movie theater movie.
and correct me if I'm wrong. Like La La Land won Best Picture.
Yeah.
Um, did Big Short
Moonlight.
as well.
Mm.
I know La La Land definitely did, but I feel like the Big Short was in like all those conversations. I guess my point being, he has a track record at this point, like to your point, Dave, like of picking very well as far as movies are concerned. And I think Emily Blunt at this point has a pretty reputable track record outside of like Jungle Cruise, maybe, of doing pretty successful movies. So I thought just with the two of them alone, you were in the right direction. And I thought like the trailer came off as pretty funny. I thought the action looked pretty clean. And to your point also, like I think that all those things kind of live up when you see the movie, you know?
Hmm.
Surrounding actors
Yeah.
in it are pretty good too.
Yeah.
Dude from Black Panther, Aaron Johnson, right? Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Taylor Johnson, yeah.
Yeah, like he's also pretty good. Am I missing anybody else for secondary?
The girl from Ted Lasso.
Teresa Jones or Teresa Palmer. Is that who you're talking
Oh
about? Because
no, no,
she's
no. So she was the girlfriend. No, the producer, the Hannah Waddington, I think is her name.
was that okay? Yeah,
Yeah.
I know who you're talking
Anna
about.
Weddingham.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then Teresa Palmer was Aaron Taylor Johnson's girlfriend.
yeah.
So like a good cast, good premise. I thought. Uh, I can't figure out for the life of me like what was going on this weekend. Was a Kentucky Derby just kept people inside? Like what was it that made people not see this?
Well, I think a large part of it too is like we said, there was so much marketing too. Like they aggressively shoved this down people's throat to the point where it's almost like, why do they have to try this hard to put this movie out? It must not be that great.
You think it's diminishing returns?
I mean, that was definitely my opinion. It reduced my expectations just based on how heavily they marketed it.
So like I okay, then what are like theater what are places supposed to do at this point? You know, like what is the happy medium to that? Because like it's either you don't promote it enough and people don't know anything about it, or you've somehow like over promoted it. I don't know what like the happy medium is to that. Because Dante, we came off of Boy Kills World last week, right? Like where
Yeah.
it's like no promotion really whatsoever except for some online traffic around it, but no actual like theater promotion. No, I don't have cable, but I assume no TV promotion. Um, or you have a movie like this that gets all of it and it still doesn't drive anything. Because now we're talking also of it at $130 budget. The promotion for that movie was probably another 100 mil on top of it.
If that.
So you're
Or I
still
mean,
200
sorry,
mil.
at least. Yeah.
You're still 200 mil in the hole. You aren't going to have the benefit of IMAX and Dolby showings after this week, because Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is going to take all of that away. So you're already into secondary theaters. It's kind of got the vibe now that I'm thinking of it of the last Mission Impossible and what happened to that.
Where it only really had a week to perform and then got
Yeah,
shadowed out.
and on top of the fact that I think that like that movie has shown like, hey, these perform well, has a good track record in the box office, has a marquee star helming it who has good reputation around him, and it gets stepped on a week later by Oppenheimer and Barbie, right? Like this seems like it's going to get caught up in that very quickly, and we're going to go from a movie that I think at the end of the year most people are going to look at being like probably top 10 if I had to guess for a lot of people's lists. Maybe like I could see it varying in people's tastes, but like probably top 10 for most people, and it's not even going to make close to the money it needed to be
Yeah.
successful. Yeah, I like pretty large disappoint. What were some of the stuff that stood out for you guys with this? Because you both liked it, right? I know Dave,
Yeah.
you really
Yeah.
liked it. Dante, like, you know, I assume you did.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I liked it. Maybe not as much as some other people in the theater, but
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah.
but no, I think it was really good. I mean, I think it delivered well on the action side. The rom com was fun. Some good comedy as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like it hit all the points it was trying to hit, and I think it did it well. And I enjoyed the movie overall.
What's your guys' favorite version of Gosling?
The
Is
hot
fun.
goss.
Yeah, that version, the sexy kind. Um, is like funny Gosling the best Gosling?
I think so. I think his sense of humor is like very just kind of like it can be very dry and just like out of nowhere. And I think I resonate with that quite a lot. I think he just pops up with a funny line that when you're completely not expecting it.
Is it like suave or is it stupid?
I think it's both.
It's like it's
He hits both
pretty
sides of
right
it. You
down
know
the
what I
middle
mean?
with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to figure because like it's definitely between this and Barbie. Like, because I think Crazy Stupid Love is more suave, right? But
Mm.
I think like this and
Hmm.
Barbie are leaning a little bit more into the like the dumb and attractive realm. But then he
But
like I mean, and he plays both roles well. But I feel like he's kind of is he
he's a.
typecasting himself at all?
I was gonna say he's a pretty versatile actor, and I don't really think I could lock him into one lane and say I only like his comedies because, like,
What else does he have coming up? Because I just am interested because he had a time where I feel like he was very dead set on like I'm a serious actor, and he did like Drive and he did Blade Runner, these serious roles in movies.
or that movie I
Um,
like that you don't, The Place Beyond the Pines.
yeah, yep.
Well, I think he has gone out and said that he has no real interest in doing any kinds of those movies anymore, just for the sake of like his wife and his daughter. Um, he doesn't really want to be shown like on the screen in those kind of roles. So I think he's sticking to more of those like comedic or like rom com roles, like at least for the foreseeable future.
Do
Hmm.
you mean like he doesn't want to do like violent roles anymore?
Yeah.
Like stomping a dude out in an elevator, like I think he did in Driver or
Yes.
Drive rather.
Yes. Drive.
Yeah. So I get okay. Well,
Uh,
how old is his daughter? I don't know.
Not sure. Young, I'm pretty sure.
Paired up with
Upcoming
Eva
movie.
Mendes. She's a gal.
She is a gal.
Favorite Eva Mendes?
The other guys.
I was gonna say, what was the one where she was Will Ferrell's wife?
Yeah, that's the other guys. I think like that's her funniest role. I think like her most attractive role is it
Fast 2.
What Comes at Night or something like that? It's a Mark Wahlberg movie.
Never
Get some
heard of or seen it.
I don't think I've ever heard that either. No.
you get some full frontal in it, guys.
Hey, no.
Same in Training Day.
She does that in Training Day?
Yeah.
Damn, I don't even remember her in Training Day. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie. It's crazy she's been around that long.
During your younger years, you remember your movie titties.
Yeah. That's a top 5, dude. Favorite movie titties. Like, I feel like Titanic has to be on there. Just like it's like they might not even be the best, but like they're like one of the earliest I can remember.
Iconic.
Yeah. Pay me like one of your French girls. What does he have for upcoming roles?
Looks like we're getting a Gray Man 2. Some movie called Project Hail Mary. And something else called Misadventure.
So, did you guys see Gray Man?
I feel like I
No.
did, but I don't remember it.
I didn't watch it all the way through. And like I know it had like him and Chris Evans, so I feel like it's probably a good movie.
But it's a Netflix movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's interesting that like Chris Evans plays the bad guy in that. Well, we all liked it. Do we want to hit a little spoiler? Like 3, 2, 1 spoilers? Anything in there?
What do we got to spoil? What are we throwing out?
Do
Favorite scenes?
Yeah,
Do your whole recap style thing like you usually do?
I won't go like in depth for it. I feel like there's not like
Need for it.
Yeah, I guess the conversation becomes like the beats of the story, because I think that that's the hardest thing to not know going into the movie. Like, I think that that's the most pleasant surprise to me is the way that they laid it all out. In that the trailer, it's just like, hey, this is a rom-com action movie about a stuntman, right? I didn't predict like the injury that took him out of it, like the having to make the comeback stuff. You knew that he was trying to find his body double, but like that whole story I think was played out pretty well. I was pretty satisfied with like the way that it felt like a pretty thorough story too. I think that that's what makes it good. Is it's not like a very exterior, just like here's two pretty people who have good chemistry with some action thrown around it. I think they built a pretty solid story around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely I think just from A to Z, it never really went off track. I feel like one of the highlights for me too was just the overall like soundtrack. I thought it was a lot of good music, kind of like weaved in and out.
Yeah.
So is this
karaoke scene was pretty good.
Yeah, is this where we want to talk about our theater experience?
Yeah.
Dude, I've had like some weird ones recently in the theater as far as people. I like this one,
but like that's what adds to the theater experience, honestly. Or subtracts from it in some cases.
This one, like I get like so like Tom was like very high on this guy, right? As far as like making the experience, right? I'm very torn on whether or not I think so. For the people out there,
Tom was also furthest from the situation.
Yes, yeah. So for the people out there, we're in the theater, and swear like we're an hour into the movie, and this dude I've not noticed this guy up until this point at all. Like he wasn't like distracting to me, like wasn't drawing my attention at all. And then this karaoke scene hits, and what song were they singing?
I don't even know.
I can't remember now.
It was Phil Collins. Take a Look at Me Now.
Yeah, okay. And like at the peak of like Take a Look at Me Now, this guy reaches out to the screen leans out of his seat and like, yeah, just fucking like he basically sang the line and was like impassioned about it, like so into it. And from that moment on, I was back and forth between watching the movie and watching this dude. And I don't know if that's like a good thing or a bad thing. Like he was funny. Like it was very funny. Like he cried, which is crazy. Cause like I'm cool with crying in movies. This was not a movie you had to cry for.
No.
This was not one of those. And he gave a round of applause at the end of it.
He clapped a few times.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it was like the first kiss where he like, woo!
Yeah.
Yeah. Did it, so like, were you guys on the side of it improved the viewing experience, or did it take anything away?
I think it improved it.
Oh yeah, I think either way, watching him or watching the movie, I was entertained. So
Yeah. I would equate it to like watching a show with a laugh track.
Yeah. Yeah, he was telling you the beats like of the movie that you were supposed to feel. And it's funny, like if they were going to do a second run of marketing for the Fall Guy, I think they would have loved to have that guy like filmed for this.
I'm just now picturing the video for the marketing, and it's just him so amped up, and everybody around him just sitting. Just
they'd have to zoom the camera in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's like what other movies kind of did that? It was like Paranormal Activity or something,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, that definitely did that. Yeah. Like any good horror movie that's like legitimately scary is just like, let's throw like footage of you in the theater. And Endgame obviously did a really good job of that too, with like the big moments. They always like made sure that if you go on YouTube, you can watch like hour-long compilations of people's reactions. This guy, I don't know. I wonder if he's like that in every movie you see. Like, is he just like that invested, or is this now his favorite movie that's ever been made?
Bro, if it's like that every time, I will buy all his movie tickets and go with him.
I mean, who knows? He might just save this movie in the box office by just kind of going back and back and back every day.
Yeah.
Do you guys think this has replayability?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd watch it again.
What is the line for you guys as far as like, what movies have you seen multiple times in the theater?
In the theater?
Yeah.
I'm not usually a repeat theater kind of guy.
Yeah, I just said Endgame. Like Endgame and Infinity War, I definitely saw more than once in the theater.
I think Star Wars is like I'll go back like 2 or 3 times per movie just to kind of get it all.
Mm-hmm.
But those might be like the only ones in theater.
I'm trying to think like what like the Marvel stuff definitely stands out for me. I can't remember if like maybe like the Dark Knight trilogy I saw like the second one, The Dark Knight, multiple times in theater. You've never gone multiple times for any of them, Dante? Like anything?
I'm not saying I never have. It's just it's not always an intentional thing. Like there'll be times where I go to a movie with like you guys, and then like later, like another friend will be like, "Yo, did you want to go see such and such movie?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, fuck it."
How many times did you see Barbie?
Once.
Okay.
Once. I would not go a second time.
I had a feeling you saw it twice, dude.
No. Could not suffer that movie.
You've
twice.
seen something recently twice, though, haven't you? Like I feel
Challengers.
Like, yeah. Okay. There we go.
Ooh.
It's crazy that you're
Challenge.
like you're the first one to be like, yeah, I don't know about seeing a movie twice, dude. The most recent
one. Yeah.
But like that wasn't like, oh my god, I gotta go see this again. It was more so just like friends wanted to hang out. Hey, we're going to see Challengers. You want to join? I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'll watch it again.
Segue, did you have the same gripes with it the second time?
Yeah.
Still felt the same way?
Yeah.
Okay. Still like the dicks?
No, I didn't like them initially either. Like,
we'll have to go back and watch the tape.
What tape? Were you recording me watching the movie?
No, but we were recording a podcast, and I feel like you were into it.
Yeah, and there's just a clip of me going, "Woo, dicks!"
Well, why'd you put your 2 hands like that?
Damn, I was air dicking, wasn't I?
Yes, double air dicking, actually.
Busted.
No, literally, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Fuck.
Um, yeah, I thought. Was there any action scene that stood out to you guys more than any of the other ones for you in this movie?
Mhm.
I think I have one.
I mean, I liked the whole like fight scene during the karaoke.
That's
Like when they were kind of in the
The
like the
dragging on the
dumpster or
truck.
whatever,
Yeah.
dragging
that
on.
would be
Yeah, that was
my
really cool.
favorite one. I think of the
Okay.
I think that got amplified too at the end when you see like just like the background stunts and you
That's
see
what I
like
was gonna
Ryan
say. The
Gosling
little
doing a lot of
montage of
that
the
stuff
stunts.
himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that actually like sticking around to watch that post credit stuff was like I appreciated a lot of this movie for that matter. I brought it up to you guys, like the idea that like the scene where he falls out of the helicopter at the end, like that person really fell out of the helicopter, no
Uh,
like straps or anything. And granted, he fell into an airbag, but like the precision that it requires for you, he did like multiple flips and stuff. I mean, it's
Hmm.
basically like being a synchronized or not a like a what is a high diver. It's
yeah.
kind of like that, but it's still something you appreciate because you're not landing in water. You're literally like trusting you're landing the right way. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, I think it definitely gave me a real appreciation. I thought it was really cool that Gosling did that himself, at least some of it, you know. But I thought that that was by far my favorite action scene. I did like some of the ones in the apartment, whether it be the fight with the girlfriend or it was
Mm,
the because I thought the fight with the girlfriend had good comedic like beats to it too, like them
yeah.
navigating like the prop weapons while
Hmm.
also having like what seemed to be a pretty intense fight scene. And then the second one that included the dude from Black Panther I thought was pretty good as
When he's
well.
popping blanks at everybody.
Yeah, I thought integrating all that stuff was cool.
Uh,
The when he went to like the nightclub too and got drugged and like had that like quick little like fight scene, I thought was really cool with all the different neon colors and whatnot.
Yeah,
uh,
that one was I don't like that one was weird because it's kind of the same thing I said about Monkey Man, Dante, where I'm like, I thought it was a great fight scene. But where did he learn to fight like that? Are we just going under the assumption that everybody, because they do movies, has had to do like fight choreography, so they've got to be like good fighters? Or did him doing the drugs unlock like this like ability inside of him?
yeah, because they were under the impression the drugs were supposed to knock him out, and all of a sudden he's kicking their ass.
Like
Hmm.
beating the shit out of them, like seeing punches basically coming before they're happening. Like I thought there was gonna the way I saw that scene going down as we were watching it is I thought like all of that was in his head and then he was just gonna end up like with his
On the
ass
ground.
kicked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
that he was going to like successfully beat the shit out of all those people.
It was like the drugs unlocked his spidey senses because you notice how it was all in
Hmm.
slow mo.
Yeah. And like I thought visually it was really cool, right? And like to be fair, like this whole movie, because of the fact that it was built the way it was as far as stunt work and stuff, I felt like everything was shot really well in this movie.
Yeah.
They were able to do like I mean I think you're able to get really good shots of Gosling if he's in fact doing a lot of his own work. I do
Yeah.
think like and you said this before the movie, Dave, and I think this goes further into like how funny it is. So prior to the movie, they showed a little thing with Gosling and the director being like, "This is our love letter to stuntmen," but then
Hmm.
didn't show any of the stuntmen. And I think it goes even further to being funny, where it's like he just did a lot of his own stunts, and it's like, so you didn't give them jobs, like you were just like,
Yeah.
"I'll do this, guys. Like, I got this one."
Ah, I got it.
Like I feel like the that end credit scene when they showed like Aaron Taylor Johnson and Ryan Gosling and then like three or four stuntmen in that like gold like cowboy jacket and outfit.
Mhm.
Like I kind of just got the sense that the stuntmen were actually for Aaron Taylor Johnson and not necessarily for Ryan Gosling.
Do you think that stuntmen are underappreciated, or are they appropriately appreciated? Because I think we all know for the most part, like the only person who comes to mind is like Jackie Chan was like historically like revered for
I
the
think the
fact that he
only
did his own
stuntmen that
stunts.
really get any clout though are the actors that do their own stunts.
Yeah,
Like the
just you know,
stuntmen
like you won't
themselves
hear
don't
Tom
get
Cruise shut
famous
up
for all the
about it.
movies they're in.
But like, do they want to be an
I
actor?
mean, that
I mean,
beginning thing kind of gave me the impression that maybe they want a little more appreciation, more acknowledgement.
I
Maybe there should be a section of the award shows that includes the stuntmen.
That was going to be my thing.
Yeah.
Like that was my biggest takeaway. Is like I don't know if it was a line in the movie or it was a line in the thing before it where it's like they don't get nominated for. I think it was in the movie where they don't get nominated for awards. I think that that's more glaring to me. Is like, do they just get lumped into like production awards in like cinematography awards more than like they should have their own category because there are like movies now that takes like stunts to such a scale.
Yeah, something along the lines of just like obviously like stuntmen or stunt coordination or like fight choreography or something like that should all be kind of like
Yeah,
have some sort of like award. Yeah.
best stunt in a movie, like for the
Hmm.
year. I'm surprised the MTV Movie Awards hasn't done something with that. Like maybe not like
Uh,
the Oscars or anything, although like I think all of them should probably do some award for it. But I'm surprised the MTV Movie Awards hasn't done some type of stunt award. They could have given it to Jackass like 3 or 4 different times. I don't know.
yeah.
Uh, so Dave, this where does this fall for like what movies have you seen this year, Dave?
Hasn't been a whole lot. So I mean, off the top of my head, Dune, The Fall Guy.
Ungentlemanly.
Ungentlemanly Warfare. Those might be the only movies that I've seen.
And where does this fall as far as your like or love of it for the year?
Uh, so I think for me, I enjoyed Dune. I'm not the biggest Dune fan. I did have more enjoyment watching this movie than Dune. So I think for me, it's up there, even above Ungentlemanly Warfare. I thought this was just a more fun movie to watch. Although I've got nothing bad to really say about Ungentlemanly Warfare, but yeah, I think for me this has probably the most rewatchability and just was the most entertaining.
Dante,
Rewatchability is definitely a big one.
I would agree. Yeah, I think that I'm torn though on like of those 3 movies. I think that this is more rewatchable than Ungentlemanly. I don't know if I feel like it's more like Dune is more time consuming, but I think that like there's more to be invested in with Dune.
Yeah.
Dante, where did it fall on your list?
It fell at number 3 for me, right behind Civil War and ahead of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Civil War, yeah.
Um I have it at 5.
Okay.
So, and I'm torn a little bit because the one I'm most torn on, funny enough, is this versus Ungentlemanly Warfare. Because I'm going back and forth on like, I think that like there's, I think Ungentlemanly is more clever in the way that it does a lot of it. Like I thought like the scripting and like the dialogue is more, there's just more in it,
Mhm.
and a lot more moving parts that I think I like that a little bit more. And I think on an action standpoint, they both do a really good job. So, like right now, I still have Dune and Civil War as my top 2. I had Ungentlemanly still at 3, and then I have this behind Challengers as well,
Hmm.
which I know that's not popular with you, Dante. You clearly don't like Challengers, but
I liked it. I went to watch it twice for Christ's sakes, but it's not that high up there for me. Damn, I didn't realize I had it that low either. Um,
yeah, I'm still torn. Like, I think there's a world where I do change some of it because I really did like this movie, and I think that to your point, like the rewatchability thing, I think is the biggest question here because I think this is an easy movie to throw on and just watch again. Like it's
it's a good movie that doesn't require a ton of brain power, so it's kind of like a relaxed watch, you know.
Yeah. Whereas I think that, yeah, like Ungentlemanly, I think you do maybe to catch some of the stuff to it because of how dense that script is and everything, like have to be a little bit more aware when watching it to pick up on some of the tension and like the Nazi scenes and stuff. And then Dune is obviously something that like you're gonna immerse yourself in and like set aside 3 hours to really like appreciate it.
Yeah, Dune's the type of movie where a bathroom break can ruin the whole movie for you.
Yeah, like you've got to kind of invest yourself into it. I think that I'm still shocked like Civil War is holding up the way it is so far for me.
It was really good.
Yeah, I really liked it. All right, you guys want to do some topics?
Hit me.
Lay it on us.
I think I had an order, but I think I'm gonna kind of pivot off of it a little bit. So had you guys seen Kevin Feige talk about Marvel at all
No.
recently?
I have not.
So he there's a quote of him right now where he's comfortable with the MCU being the underdog, and he prefers to be able to surprise and exceed expectations. And then Levy or Levi, um, he said you'd have to live under a rock to not know that the past few Marvel movies have failed and failed to ignite the world in a way that so many had or so many did. Do you guys think that there's a world where Marvel is an underdog?
I don't think so.
Um, I think it could go both ways. I mean, yeah, the success that they have is unrivaled, and they are clearly like top of the food chain when it comes to like just top grossing and um, movies over the last like 10 years. But to exactly what you said, I feel like they have just come out with like one after the other of just kind of disappointing and just boring movies where I think, at least in my expectations, like I kind of just don't care anymore. So my expectations of Marvel movies have definitely gone down to the point now, like you're saying, if they could kind of just go under the radar for a little bit, and then all of a sudden, like just come out with just a monster hit. Um, I'd say it's definitely better for them to like have lower expectations of a fan base and then hit, rather than your entire fan base thinking that you're going to put forth an A+ movie every single time, and that's just clearly not possible.
I I think I agree with his sentiment. I don't agree with his wording because I don't think that they're an underdog. I don't think an underdog is what you could ever call the franchise that has set numerous box office records at this point. I think what he is actually saying is we have lowered your expectations so far because we've released a lot of trash for the past year and a half or so that we're
Mhm.
bound to exceed those expectations with one of these movies that we have coming out. Like, I think that that's all code for being like, we have pitched so many fucking, like, we've struck out so many times at this point, right? Like, in a row, from basically Love and Thunder on, I feel like, with the exception of Guardians, have been
Mm.
all pretty much panned. That once we have a hit, and ideally in their minds, it's Deadpool, Wolverine, right? Like, once we get that, you're going to be back to saying we're fantastic again because we've lowered your expectations this much.
Yeah, but they also got to make sure that they follow it up with another hit. Like you can't just go right back into the bottom of the trash barrel.
Well, what's next up after Deadpool, Wolverine? Do we know?
Yeah,
Dante.
Dave, do my job.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Man, it's
Dante,
quick.
don't see you typing at all, buddy.
Nah, he was quick to the draw. I like that.
I mean, I'm not getting the best list here.
Yeah, that's how it normally goes for us.
It's
Yeah,
new
not so
Captain
easy, huh?
America. So like a new Captain
Yeah,
America with Sam. Like I don't know, maybe.
that's what's yeah, that's the next one.
And then Thunderbolts. I think that has the potential of just being two more like downers. I think
Yeah, I
What
think
is Thunderbolts?
that's gonna be like that's
exactly.
got Florence Pugh. It's got what's his name from Stranger Things? David Harbor.
David Harbour. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean they can afford good actors, but like, what is it?
it's got well, I mean, they're all actors that have been in Marvel. It's like kind of like your side characters to a bunch of other movies at this point, in a way,
Mm.
right? Because is that where Bucky's going to? Is Winter Soldier in that at all? Am I wrong?
Sebastian Stan. Yeah, he's in that.
Yeah, because I think what it is they had been setting it up right with the Julie Louis
Hmm.
Dreyfus, like her, she was showing up at the ends of the movies and like integrating in or some of the shows, bringing in these characters, and it's to create a team. And is it kind of their Suicide Squad in a way?
Mm.
I'm not the right guy to ask on that one.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's an Marvel's anti-hero team essentially.
yeah. So it's kind of that. And I like, I think people liked Florence Pugh's character, right? Like David Harbour is pretty likable.
Hmm.
Uh Winter Soldier has been pretty solid and everything. Like for what it's worth, I think it'd be nice if this Captain America movie was coming out, um or Captain Falcon, is that what it's gonna be called? Like, or is it Captain America Brave New World? Is that what they're calling it?
Can't be
Yeah,
Captain Falcon. That's Nintendo.
Yeah, whoops.
Captain.
Wombo combo, right? The I think that, like, honestly, that might perform better if it was coming out closer to when that show Falcon and Winter Soldier show had aired, because I feel like people are mostly positive still on the Marvel TV franchises when that was still on. In addition, Bob Iger had said that their plan is to reduce the output of Marvel Studios to 2 to 3 movies per year and 2 TV shows per year. Still sounds like a lot.
Yeah. I feel like they. I mean, obviously, it's the same company between Disney, but Star Wars kind of did the same thing. I just think they oversaturated their own brand, and it was just too much too quickly.
Yeah, it was this idea of having the ability to have Marvel on year round, right? Like,
Hmm.
you can just watch this. And what was the last Marvel show that you guys watched?
I think it was Loki for me.
Me too. Loki season 2. Yeah.
It might have been the Hawkeye.
Well, that's even further back, dude. So you didn't watch Loki?
I did not watch season 2. No. Oh, actually, well, Moon Knight and Miss Marvel. I thought actually I've seen both of those as well. I don't know if that's before or after. But...
Those are before Loki still.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Moon Knight's honestly where I disassociated at that point. Well, Miss Marvel too. Both of those actually for me was where I started to fall off. I didn't watch either one of those. Loki, I think it just still had ramifications on the grander scheme of things, and obviously Loki is a more established character, so that got me to watch it. But I haven't watched She-Hulk. I haven't watched Miss Marvel or Moon Knight. I also didn't watch, what's the one that everybody hates now with
Secret Invasion.
yeah, Secret Invasion's the one that's been like universally panned. And is there another one
Mhm.
post that I haven't watched too? Or is that the last one?
Echo.
I watched it. Fuck, I did watch Echo. I did watch that. I didn't hate that as much as everybody else hated it. Although, like, there's some shit in it, dude. Like, there's some real shit in it. But there's also some like fun fight sequences. You get the little Daredevil cameo in it too.
I've at least enjoyed the fact that like it doesn't feel like you need to watch these shows to continue watching like the cinematic universe. Like I've felt okay picking and choosing which ones like have been interesting to me, except for like you said, maybe Loki is the only one that has like more of a say in terms of like what's going to be happening in the future. But yeah, like Secret Invasion didn't really feel like I needed to touch. I don't know. Echo, I didn't really touch. She-Hulk, I watched the first episode and it just wasn't for me.
Yeah, same.
There was I actually saw a TikTok today, interestingly enough, about Loki season 2 of something I don't think that like I had seen previously. So in the first episode of season 2, you see, or maybe it was, yeah, I think it was season 2. You see Agent Carter in the time, whatever thing. What's it called?
TVU
The TVU, and
or TVA.
TVA. Okay, and you don't know why you see her. And then there's a scene where what's his name? The bad guy,
Oh,
Jonathan
shall not be
Kang?
Majors.
named.
Yeah, Jonathan
Kang.
Kang. Thank you. So there's a scene where Kang is talking to Loki, and he's like, "Oh, are you the one with the axe?" And everybody
Oh, okay, yeah.
assumes when he says that that he's talking about Thor. But what he's actually probably talking about is that when Captain America goes back in time, he brings the axe with him, and there's a good chance that Kang is the one who he goes into the timeline that splinters off when Captain America goes back to Agent Carter to like grow old with her, and that there's a good
Mhm.
chance that in that timeline Kang follows Captain America and possibly kills him, and that's where they go and get um, Agent Carter from, and that's why she's being brought into TVA.
Hmm.
So like that is the show, and I'm pretty sure a decent amount of Deadpool and Wolverine is going to be tied into Loki as well. Loki season 2.
It will be interesting with Deadpool actually being part of like the universe now, and like I'm sure he's going to like fourth wall a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, like which is going to be a way for them to explain away shit or explain further into it in a way to your audience without it being. It's like an easy excuse, I suppose. It's also an
Yeah.
easy way to integrate in more of your X-Men characters that like we've been getting these like tiny like glimpses of. I feel like this is another step in that direction, obviously, but it has that chance again of being like, is it overly bloated in a way that was it like Doctor Strange? I feel like kind of came off Multiverse of Madness to a lot of people, where it had a
Yeah.
ton of hype around it, but then once people saw it, I feel like it didn't get the reviews that they were looking for.
Hmm.
Oh well, it remains to be seen. Like Marvel, going back to the original point, for all this reason, like I don't think Marvel can ever be an underdog because there's too much that has been invested into it and too much that we know about it at this point that no matter what, it can't be an underdog. Like your expectations can be low because they haven't done anything good, and that could be a good or a bad thing. But I just don't think underdogs ever get the way that I would explain it to be. It's just like what's going to be the thing that gets them back on the successful road again. Like what characters are going to get us invested again to be on this like
Mm.
10 or 15 movie journey again to get to another Avengers movie. Because at this point, I don't know about you guys, like I feel like we're 10 years away from another Avengers movie because I can't see anything on the forefront that justifies an actual Avengers movie to happen. And aside from Spider-Man, I don't think that anything is appointment viewing currently.
Um, no, I agree. I think the only other thing that Marvel has in the upcoming future that I'm definitely going to be interested in is probably Blade.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and but even that has like surrounded by controversy in some way or another because it's been like
Yeah.
start and stopped so many times. And have you seen the stuff about like Wesley Snipes being in Deadpool?
No.
Yeah.
Spans acting again?
So there's a
Oh,
chance that he is actually in Deadpool as
the
Blade.
fuck. As
Who?
Blade.
What?
Yeah.
Interesting.
The timeline stuff, like this is where I'm saying that like at what point does it become too much that like you're just tying in all these different things? Because even like there was a thing this week that came out about like in the background of one of the diner scene, I think that they've released. Um it's like the pizza menu from Spider-Man 2. So it's just like
30 minutes or less?
yeah, like you're dropping in like all these other movies that came out far before any of this stuff was popular and just finding ways to like Easter egg it, I suppose.
I mean, if 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 that's true with Wesley Snipes, I mean, you're going to get some callbacks with obviously Ryan Reynolds being
Exactly.
in
Yeah.
Blade 3.
Which would
Yeah.
that is in a way where it makes sense that you would integrate it in. Because like Ryan Reynolds has been in a Marvel property and it was god awful. Been in 2 Marvel properties actually, right? Because he was in the original Wolverine as Deadpool
Yep.
and then Blade Trinity. Which honestly, I think if you go back and it's probably been talked about, like Blade Trinity is probably what led to him getting cast as Deadpool in the first place because he was already like a mercenary in Trinity and was
Hmm.
like the smartass mercenary. So it kind of like worked that way. Blade
Oh, you didn't think
Trinity.
his work in Green Lantern like would bleed into?
Do you think that
No,
movie's as bad as people look back on it being?
it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
I never watched it.
It was pretty bad.
I think it's always like skewed for me because I'm not a comic book like nerd, so to speak. Like I don't have like this association to the lore that makes me feel like I have to judge it based on that. And I still think it's a bad movie. I think mostly the villain is really bad in it, but I don't think him
Yeah.
and like I mean it started him and Blake Lively's marriage, right? So it
Hmm.
couldn't have been that
Yeah.
bad.
I thought the overall like I thought it was a great casted movie, but man, the writing was terrible.
Just a mess. Yeah. Um, Dante, this one's for you.
Uh-oh.
Are you still a Helldivers guy? Are you still Helldiving?
I probably haven't played it in about a week and a half.
Why?
I mean, I only ever really played it maybe like 4 or 5 times. It's like fun when you have a group, but it's not a game you play by yourself.
Have you seen all like the drama around it?
No.
So in the past week, they tried going in this direction because this was like Sony going into the world of like one of their exclusives being available on PC as well as PlayStation. And they tried to do this thing where it was going to require anybody who has the game has to have a PlayStation account, which should be fine because PlayStation accounts are free to create, right?
But were they going to require Plus for PC players?
No, it was just they had to have an account. The issue became they Sony is available for PlayStation accounts in 70 countries, meaning there was a ton
Oh.
of people who bought Helldivers who had been playing it who are not going to be able to play the game. And it led to them on Steam getting like 200,000 negative reviews on the game and like killing the population for a short period of time due to protest essentially of people playing it. And similar, Dave, to what you were talking to me about with Tarkov, and I don't know, Dante, how much you know about what happened with Tarkov.
Nothing.
Um, they basically, and like Dave, if you want to explain the Tarkov thing, and then I can loop back around to how it ties in together.
Yeah, so I mean, with Tarkov, they essentially released like another like special edition of the game called the Unseen Edition or Unforeseen Edition, Unseen Edition, I think. It was $250, um, and like it came with access to a brand new PVE mode that wasn't in the game before, with like several other like additions. But essentially, like members of myself, like I bought, um, there was a $150 version called Edge of Darkness that was pretty much available like 7 years ago, up until about last year, and it gave you access to everything in the game with the promise of all future DLC. Because essentially, this game's still in early access, so for a bunch of your fans to kind of drop $150 on an unfinished game in the hopes that like we have faith in you to basically develop and produce this game. Um, this PVE mode wasn't available to us because they decided to say that this brand new content of PVE was a new feature of the game and it's not a DLC. Um, essentially, just like it was massive uproar, and essentially, like it was just you had a whole bunch of like I don't know what like content creators and streamers essentially just like boycott the game. There was so much like just negative press and like attention, that the main developer Nikita he did a bunch of like press interviews trying to kind of like answer what their point of view was, but essentially like walked back everything that they had done, and said, and yeah, no, it was just a giant mess.
And so, like, that's kind of similar to what happened here with Helldivers in a way, right? Like, so there's so much negative feedback to this change that they basically have to undo everything, both on Tarkov and on Helldivers, and make the game available again to the masses because, like, you're going to tank your platform essentially. And it's worse with Tarkov, I feel like, in a way, because, like, to your point, if you bought into this game 7 years ago, like,
Hmm.
if you're attacking your most loyal base and you're losing that, I don't know. Like, how do you have any idea, Dave, how much Tarkov's like game player base has grown in the past couple of years? Like, have they stayed kind of at a similar plateau, or have they been increasing?
I think it I want to say it's slightly up and down to the nature of the game. But I think overall it definitely has been increasing. Because obviously the way they do is like they have like wipes, or I mean like more commonly known as like seasons, essentially, where like everybody gets into the game, and then like later on to the season it kind of slows down, dies down, and then once they like add a couple new features or add a new map or like kind of like change some balance things, and they basically wipe the whole slate clean, and you see a lot more like content creators and streamers get back into it, which then drives the normal player base, and then they do a lot of like Twitch drops and stuff like that. I would say overall the community has definitely grown and grown and grown over the last like probably 3 or 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, like to that front, it's like they have to kind of accommodate their fan base a lot more. I feel like because there's so much built into it at this point with 7 years of investment. If you just completely like decrease your player base at this point, like what like you're never going to get it back. Whereas like
Hmm.
Helldivers, it's you can be a flash in the pan with a lot of different video games. There's a million video games I feel like once a month now that come out on Steam that shoot to the top of Steam. What was that Pokemon ripoff?
Oh, Pal World.
Pal World, yeah.
Hellworld, right? Like the games like that just pop up and everybody in the world, like it's the most downloaded thing. It's crashing Steam, like it's like holding down the top, and then a month later you don't hear anything about it. And I feel like Helldivers, it was super, super popular when it first got announced, and I think it still is. I think some of the drawback is kind of your point, Dante, and I haven't played the game, but I do think it seems like a game that you don't play by yourself. You
No.
kind of want to be able to play with other people. Um, but yeah, like I think that it's a death blow to a company like that if you and it still can be. I think even if you take back what you were doing, just leaving a bad taste in people's mouth on a game that's only been out since February is
Hmm.
probably not a great strategy.
And I don't even understand that move, having to require everybody to need a PlayStation account.
Well,
Like,
I
what do they
think
gain from that?
I think it's because this is PlayStation's first foray into like allowing their exclusive content. Not that they made the game, but it is exclusive to them. I think it's just their way of still having control and
Mm.
thinking it's going to grow their brand while being attached versus I wonder if they're looking at the numbers, and if you're Sony and it's one of your exclusives but you have 70% of your player base on PC, how is this benefiting?
Hmm.
But how would it benefit them even if I had a PlayStation account, especially if they're
uh,
not going to require me to have PlayStation Plus?
Marketing.
I mean, they'll have your information,
Yeah,
marketing, yeah.
Mm.
keeping you to like pumping you with games that they're going to be releasing and specials that they have going on that try to get you to buy a PlayStation. Like I think that they're that alone for a visibility standpoint is like why they would want to do that.
I think they dropped the ball by just not implementing this from like the release day.
Yes,
Like I think it's just you've amassed a wide audience of players who just like bought the game. Cool. Like on my normal platform, I play on Steam, press the button, I'm good to go. And then now all of a sudden you're trying to tell me that I can no longer play the game that I've purchased because I need to have another sign in.
The
Make it make sense.
because yeah, they so like I have the numbers here because I have still have the article open. So PSN's only available in 73 countries. They would have had over 100 countries that weren't going to have access to this game any longer.
So they were going to cut out like more than half their player base, pretty much.
Hmm.
Crazy. Yeah, and well, you don't know that, right? Because I assume still like the United States is probably their largest player base, but 100 countries is a substantial chunk that you are blocking out.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is always nice in this standpoint, though, like with both Tarkov and this, to still see that the people can have the power, and it has to be largely driven by content creators and like people who have more of a platform have to be the ones getting behind it. Because if
Hmm.
you continue to play the game as like what Landmark is probably the biggest content creator for Tarkov, if
Uh, he's definitely one of the top ones. One of my favorites, and I've been following and watching this man play Tarkov nonstop for like 5 years. I don't think I've really ever seen this guy play another game. And he has not touched Tarkov in the last 2 weeks. He has just been going on nonstop, like variety, just trying different games, looking for something new, and just being kind of like saying "fuck you" to Battle State games.
because like for me, like what got me interested in Tarkov is like Dr. Lupo, right? And he plays like more than just that game. But that was a
Yep.
person who like I was always aware of who he was, but that's where I started watching Tarkov is because he started popping up in my YouTube, and I was like, oh, this game's kind of cool. Like not a game. I'm not a keyboard and mouse guy, so I'm not playing it myself, but I think it's a fun game to watch people play. Um, And like if you're not getting those people out there, it's not just now growing your player base, it is also growing your viewing audience that you're going to get. Does Tarkov have the
Hmm.
ability to do tournaments
Yes. So they've done like Twitch rivals and stuff like that. They'll set up
like an arena type thing?
so well they have an arena mode which isn't super successful. They made their own like Call of Duty version of their game. But they'll set up like private servers, and then it's mainly just like people who are invited or like content creators. There's no way for just like the general population to enter a tournament, but they can like update the rules and the settings of the servers, and it's been pretty fun to watch.
Because I feel like that's what one thing I haven't seen from them since I've become interested in the game that I'd like to see is more of like a competitive. Because it's like it's a fun game to watch in the way that I think like DayZ is an interesting game, but I don't know if I'd describe them as like competitive.
No, it's definitely not
You know,
competitive. Yeah.
and I think that that's like something I'd like to see more of. Do you think Dante you'll be going back to Helldivers? Like,
I mean,
is
I'll
it
probably pop in here and there. I don't think I was ever like a huge fan of the game. It was more so like the experience you have with your friends, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
so for people like I really don't know a ton about the game. Like I've watched people play it a little bit. Like what is the goal? Like what is the replayability aspect that gets people to devote hours to it?
You just drop into missions. There's different styles of missions, whether there's like objectives you complete and then you extract, or there's like just missions where you kill a X amount of enemies and then extract.
But what do you like? So I know with Tarkov, right? Like you're gaining your loot, you're keeping your loot, like by dropping in and doing missions or like going through the map. Like what is the incentive? Because like it sounds a lot like Destiny to me. In
Yeah,
all
basically when
honesty,
you go through the missions, you're earning like what do they call it? Like resources and credits to like upgrade like your weapons and your armor and that kind of stuff.
so it is
And
like
then
it's like Destiny and like what was it? The Division.
was the Division like that? I
No,
feel like
Division was
Division was more like RPG style, no?
No, the Division was definitely like you could go into the world and they would have like the
the
PvP
Dark
part of the
Zones.
world, yeah, that you could go into that was higher stakes and you could lose your loot by going in there. Like, yeah, like
Hmm.
it was definitely
Nah,
along the same lines.
there's not really a loot aspect to this game, but
Yeah, I
I guess you
guess
could say like if you have to extract with the resources you find during the missions to be able to keep them, so that you can like upgrade your ship and your power ups and your suits and all that.
I think I still just like personally struggle with like those types of games and like the appeal of them, you know? Like from a replayability, like I understand like jumping in and giving it a try, but I don't know what keeps you interested for like, sitting down and playing day after day.
I'll tell you right now, there's not much that keeps you like
You have to have friends that you're like fucking
yeah.
around with, right?
Like
Like,
it's not a game where it's like, oh yeah, I want to drop in solo because I want to grind out and get XYZ. You know what I mean? Like it's just not that kind of game for me, anyways. I mean, because like you can drop in and have like randos and shit, and I guess if you're a more social person than myself, then you might enjoy that aspect of like meeting people and like teaming up on missions and stuff. But I just hate that.
yeah.
You're not dropping in hot micing?
No, absolutely not. Like never.
The amount of people who get mad at you when you're like in a game with them in a party and like they're like, anybody got mics? Anybody got mics? And,
Yeah, we see it on Call of Duty all the
yeah,
time.
and they're like, how the fuck is it 2024 and people don't have fucking mics? It's like, dude, we all have mics. Like literally every single one of us. We just
Every time I
don't
just
want
want to
to
hit
talk.
my push to talk button and be like, yeah, no, I have a mic, just don't want to talk to you.
I'm a better listener, dude. Just like
Ugh,
tell me where we're going.
ugh.
I'll be like playing Overwatch or something. I'll be like calling out some things, and like nobody's responding. I'm just like, okay. At least they'll have a menu in Overwatch where you can see if people are in the channel listening to you or not, because you can opt in and out of the voice channel. And it's just like, oh, cool. I'm talking to nobody.
Yeah. Well, like I try to do my best in Call of Duty, for instance, to like I'm gonna mark, right? Like so like I can still live mark stuff. I can still let you know like where I'm going without having to vocalize it. And so like I can confirm if somebody says like, oh, I want to go here, it's like, okay, cool. Like we'll go there. I don't need to like vocally like say it back. The only thing it would really benefit is like gunfights, I guess, like being able to let people know like, exactly what's going on.
Strategize your intentions a little
Yeah,
better.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I just never want to talk because like, and especially Call of Duty's so toxic that like 90% of the people I don't want to fucking talk to.
Fair.
So a couple quick movie tidbits. Fast 11 pushed out until 2026.
Ooh, jeez.
It was supposed to be 2025, right?
Yeah, so it's 2026. Also listed as the final Fast movie. Do we believe that?
It was supposed to be a 3-part thing, no?
The tweet that I saw was the final Fast movie, Fast 11, comes out in 2026.
Maybe like the main state, like main cast. This definitely like a franchise and universe that will find its way into another movie after that.
So would it be a new cast though, or like, because I don't see a world where like Vin Diesel can do the movies without his family with him.
The problem is, as long as there's money to be made, they're gonna find a way.
That's what I mean.
100%.
Like, I just don't believe it when I read like the final, like, because Vin Diesel's still doing all the other stuff that he wants. I believe I read that Riddick goes into production this summer for his
Coming back on that one, huh?
yeah, with a new Chronicles of Riddick movie. Um, like he's still able to do, because he basically funds and produces a majority of his own shit. Like he's able to do his whatever movies he wants. And like, I don't think it's hindering the rest of the cast and what they want to do. Like Tyrese is still doing straight to streaming movies whenever he wants to do them. Ludacris seems like he's just kind of like fucking around, like sometimes makes music. Like I don't see him really doing much for movies. Michelle Rodriguez can do whatever. Like I just don't see where it's hindering any of the cast to keep that in their repertoire. And I feel like once you get to like their stage, it's like, hey, it's an easy excuse to go hang out with like their friends, essentially.
Yeah, it's probably
Yeah.
more of like they're doing it for the fun of it rather than for the money. Like,
Yeah,
the money's
For
good and all,
family.
you know what I mean? But
exactly. You know, like that's where I think it's a little like weird to be like, this is the final one. That seems more to me like a marketing strategy. Like, hey, like Fast 9 and 10 haven't made as much money as we want them to make. So let's call this one the last one so that we
so
can.
everybody shows up for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I thought that was weird. In 2026, it's like, that's a long ass time.
That's quite the gap.
Because you have 2023. When did the last one come out? Was it like October, November, or was it spring of last year?
I think it was a summer movie.
Okay. So it's already almost been a year since that came out. You're looking at another year and a half to 2 years between movies. It's a long ass
Yeah.
time. I don't know. It won't hurt anything, obviously. So my other one was: were you guys fans of the Maze Runner at all? The franchise.
I don't think I ever watched it.
I saw there was 3, right? I
Yeah.
saw the first 2. First one, sure, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think the second one fell off to the point where I just never felt like I needed to watch the third one.
I like the third one. I've read the books too.
Ooh.
So like it's something I'm a fan of. It was
Man
in
always tries to sound so intelligent talking about I read the books. You listen to the audiobooks. It's different.
not totally true. I think I read one of them and I did listen to at least a couple of the audiobooks. But it was in the wake of like your Hunger Games and stuff, and them trying to find more of those books to convert into movies and franchises. So it's kind of in the wake of that, and I do agree. The first one's like significantly stronger than the second one. Funny enough, and like this is always kind of true. The second book is actually really good, and they just didn't have a lot of what they did well in the second book and the second movie. I felt like the third movie was decent enough, though. Like I thought it was pretty good. I feel like you're kind of in. Most people are like you though, Dave, from what I've seen, like feedback I've seen on this is like they've watched the first 2 and never saw the third one. And I don't know, like if a reboot, so there's a book that they never made into a movie, called like the Fever Code or something, I think. And that one's like a prequel to to the trilogy that came out. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's where they kind of go back to as far as doing a reboot, is roll out the prequel first and then see if you go back to it, because it's weird to me to do like a full reboot where like Dylan O'Brien is pretty popular still. You also had what's her name, the girl who did she was just in the Gentleman TV show. She also was in like the Resident Evil new movie that came out. um she's the other main character in the Maze Runner, Catherine McNamara. in the Maze Runner as well. Little known fact, but they have like actors that are still fairly like reputable and like recognizable.
I remember Will Poulter.
Yes, yeah, he's in it
He's
too.
good in that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So like, I think it's weird that it's like a reboot rather than just like trying to get the cast back, but they might not want to. I'm pretty sure Dylan O'Brien almost died on the set of the third movie from
Oh,
one of the
damn.
stunts. Yeah, like they had to stop production for a while because he was doing like a car stunt, and I think he fell off the car or got hit by one of the cars or something, and it like really fucked him up.
Damn.
Yeah. But yeah, any level of excitement for that? Wait and see.
Yeah, none here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's more one for me, I feel like. Cool. So without further ado, taste test.
Yeah. Do you have it?
I have it. Dave, do you have
Do
taste?
you have it?
Do you have
Um,
taste?
I think I got it.
Okay, cool,
I think I got taste.
good. So as usual, I'd like Dante to start this one off.
Oh God. See where I want to start. I guess. All right. I went to the movies last week.
Did you?
Yeah. And I watched Unsung Hero.
Weird.
Why is that weird?
I just feel like Dave, have you heard of this movie before?
I have not.
Okay,
No.
that's why it's weird.
Yeah, me neither.
So fill us in. So, Dave, are you aware of the beef that we have on the podcast, me and Dante?
Not a beef. It's a rivalry.
I know that there's a little bit of gentlemanly competition.
Yeah. So we are in the midst of a war to see who can see more movies. And it's heated up over the past couple weeks because Dante said things I didn't like and challenged me to a duel. And I felt like, so now we're in a spot where we're seeing things
that we wouldn't otherwise go watch.
So Dante, tell us about Unsung Hero.
Well, first to frame it up, I watched this one at like I think 3:00 in the afternoon, so technically a matinee, on a Friday. And I was in a theater with 9 other people that were all the age of 65 or older. Yeah. To frame up what this movie is about, it's set in the 90s, and it's about an Australian family that the father basically has a huge hit to his career as a music promoter and seeks out an opportunity in America, and shit just goes wrong and wrong and wrong, and they keep coming back, fighting through it, yada yada. And it's basically the rise of the career of a Christian pop singer, Rebecca St. James.
Also never heard of her, but okay.
Me neither, actually.
So you don't feel like you're underselling the story a little bit, Dante? I mean, like in the sense that like he finds out at the beginning of the movie that he has failed hugely at his job that led to him losing $500,000. Is forced to move to the United States.
You motherfucker.
He's forced to move to the United States with his family of 7 kids or some shit.
6.
Okay. Gets stopped in customs. Because they're like, you're on a 6-month visa, and it's in the stupid little kid is like, hey, we're gonna be here for 2 years. What are you talking about 6 months? And the like customs people are like, hold up now. Try to stop them from getting in. They end up changing their mind, letting them. They get to the house, and he thinks he has a job lined up. Finds out no job. Has no furniture in his house, and it's just an empty home. And they like sleep on floors for months. It feels like. The greatest kids of all time, like real Brady Bunch situation, where the kids are just like, okay, we have no money. Let's just start working like as a family. And they start like cutting lawns and shit like that. And the dad, to Dante's point, the one part he did get right on this is the dad slowly spirals out of control.
I didn't get anything wrong. I just maybe oversimplified.
Yeah, because you thought
So
that
I'm not as in depth with recaps as you
you
are.
thought nobody was going to be here to call you out on it.
Oh god. I mean, I didn't need to be called out. You just wanted to go more in depth. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted the moment of like, oh, you motherfucker, you saw this. I did see it. Yeah. Yeah, dude. I'll be honest, as far as
I was happy I saw it actually.
well, I know I've looked at where you have it ranked.
Ah,
I was
fuck
like,
you.
how does this motherfucker have this movie? Do you want to tell people how high you have this ranked on your list?
Where did I put it?
Remember, he saw Challengers twice.
I put it as 7th,
Where's Challengers ranked?
11th.
Like this guy,
No, that's out of how many so far? Are you talking about this just this year?
just this year.
Yeah, just this year I'm at 22.
Okay. So my 4 or 5 like isn't that far behind.
No, you'll get there.
Yeah, totally.
What led to you like ranking it this high? Like, because that's where I was like going into it. I was like, there is no way. I'll be honest. I thought this movie was going to be terrible.
I did too.
And is that why you have it ranked so high? Because like it's a matter of like your expectation being here
so low
and it like coming out higher.
I just think it was really an inspirational movie. Not gonna lie, it made me cry a couple times.
It didn't incite tears out of me. I can see why you would though.
There's some relatable shit in there.
The mom is fantastic.
Yeah.
To be fair, like my only gripe would be, so the whole family at the end of this movie goes on to do. You stayed for the post credit stuff, right?
I didn't know there was a post credit.
Like it's like them showing what everybody went on
showing,
to do
yeah,
in real life. So like every member of the
come
family.
to find out, one of the kids is the one that like directed the movie.
Yeah. Okay. Not surprised. It's
actually not only did he direct the movie, he's the one that played the father. He played his own father in the movie. Yeah.
Okay.
Joel Smallbone.
He looked a lot like Eric Bana to me in the movie, like in real life.
I don't know who that is.
The original Hulk. Well, not the original Hulk, because that's Lou Ferrigno.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, I the only gripe I had is in the movie, it's like, and they had to do it this way. It's like the movie really focuses on the two parents and like the one main daughter. And then like the other kids are kind of like the oldest boy has, I don't even think, a speaking line the whole movie.
That was one thing that caught me is the newborn baby.
Yeah.
There was like some points where you even forgot the baby was part of the family.
Yeah. Did you think it was a real baby when they go to the playground? In like the baby's in the carriage.
She left him in the stroller and went up there.
Yeah, well,
without him.
Even when you saw the baby in the stroller, I'm like, I mean, I get that this is like early '90s stroller technology, but like this baby
technology is wild.
This baby, I swear to God, there wasn't like even close to a child in that thing. It was like a ball of like towels like rolled up in the stroller. Is what I'm convinced was there.
Okay, yeah, probably.
And I get it, like, because they literally had no money. What did you think of as the dad spiraling? The way he treated his Fast and Furious 3's Lucas Black, is that his name?
Yeah, I was looking at the cast as you guys were talking. Lucas Black.
Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift Zone, and then Candace Burke from Family
Full House.
Full House, thank you. Family Matters is the Black Full House. Kind of. Or is that more the Cosbys? We're not supposed to talk about that show anymore. The way he treated that family when they were literally just doing like all of the nicest shit in the world, like they gave you a fucking car. Like they just randomly gave you a car. They gave you a Christmas when you couldn't have a fucking Christmas. And I get like
they furnished your old house and shit.
Yeah, like I get where it's like his ego was just taking hit after hit after hit.
And that's why I didn't necessarily like hate him. I kind of sympathized with him in that sense. Like, fuck, like I'm supposed to be the one that's providing for my family, and now I got this other person that's doing that for me. And while they may be grateful, I'm not the one getting them there. I feel like shit.
Yeah, like
partly it's probably the responsibility of like I'm the reason they're in this situation to begin with.
I get the relatable aspect of it, like in that regard. The part that I didn't necessarily get is the stuff with the dad, like why he felt like he like he never treated his father fairly, like unfairly. I mean, in my like viewing of it, like is it
No,
like the phone calls? It's like he just kind of was like short with him, I guess, in a way.
dismissive almost,
Yeah,
and it's more so because they kept trying to convince him to go home.
yeah. Well, his dad wasn't really trying to convince him to go home. His dad was trying
Yeah,
to
true.
tell him like that
Like your family is your asset. Yeah,
his family's the most important part of him, and like that he's just got to keep pushing forward and stuff like that. And like he was just so like dismissive of it because he was so down on himself that he couldn't hear it. Um, but I don't think he was ever like mean to his dad or anything.
yeah,
That song was pretty good at the end though.
yeah.
They kind of bodied it. I thought the idea of having like the home video behind it, great sell.
Yeah.
I haven't ranked it yet, Dante.
I
Um,
know because you didn't want me to know it was on your list.
yeah, I know.
Yep,
I know.
yep. Uh-huh.
But I've kind of thought about where it would be, and I'm pretty sure it's going to come in at like 12 for me
Okay.
because I don't think it's as good as Arthur the King. So I think it has to be behind that.
I mean, I was kind of comparing it to Arthur the King, and I was back and forth, and I think emotionally this moved me a little bit more.
Are you serious, dude?
Yeah.
Arthur the King hits way harder.
Hey, man. We're different people. We're gonna have different lists. This is where we get some diversity.
I guess, yeah. Okay. Well, there's that part of the podcast.
Fuck
Dave,
you, by the way.
Dave, have you been watching anything?
I got two things that been watching a little bit. I don't know if you guys have caught Fallout at all yet.
No, I
Heard
haven't watched
nothing
it.
but
And
good
to be
things.
honest, I don't have interest, even though it's getting all this praise.
Yeah, so I mean, can't really sit here and tell you that I've seen the whole thing, so not really sure if from start to finish it holds up. But
How far
I'm
are
about
you?
three
Oh, sorry.
episodes in. Um, 3 episodes, and it has just been absolutely awesome for those three, to the point when where I watched all three in probably like 1 or 2 days within it coming out. Uh, Decided to like hop on Steam and start playing Fallout 76, and I've just been absolutely like hooked on that for about like a week and a half, 2 weeks now, to the point where like any of my free time that I have, I'm like in the game versus like trying to finish and watch a show, which I will 100% find time and get back to. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if any of you guys watched Justified with Walton Goggins, or
Sounds
any of the stuff that
familiar.
he's done.
I know who he is. Yeah. But no, Justified is
Justified.
Timothy
This cowboy,
Oliphant.
right?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
cowboy.
hmm But yeah, he plays like one of like the radiated ghouls
I
in
did see
Fallout.
this. Yeah.
And dude, he's just like a gunslinger, like bounty hunter, and holy shit, like the guy just pops off, and like 10 out of 10 performance, at least from what I've seen so far.
What is
And for
your
like,
background with the
yeah,
games?
uh, pretty deep. I played 1 and 2 were like super long ago, and we're kind of like an isometric, like top down, like RTS kind of game. Not entirely, but like had the look and play style of it. And then Fallout 3 came out when probably like 2006 or 7 or something like that, and it was like its first like kind of like open world, like RPG, like first person shooter um, style game. But yeah, Fallout 3 awesome, Fallout 4 awesome, Fallout New Vegas awesome, Fallout 76 definitely sucked when it first got released. It was just not ready for like the public. But like going back on it now and playing all the updates and fixes that they've made to the game over the last 5 or 6 years, I definitely think that the game hits now.
Did so Fallout 3 is the one that I've played the most of. And it's very good. 76, was that the first one they introduced like more of a multiplayer angle to it?
Yep. Yep. Yeah. They released its multiplayer version of Fallout, and like they rushed it. They like just were trying to essentially just put the game out as quickly as possible and just get, I think, as many sales as quickly as possible, because whether or not like what they had kind of um, projected I think they were just trying to get as much money for their investors back as quickly as possible, and it wasn't ready. Um, you basically you created your character, you go out into the world, and there's like no NPCs, there's no real quests. Like you just like walk into an area, and then all of a sudden you find a holotape of somebody that used to be there, and then boom, you have a quest. So basically, you're running around, and all you have is just kind of like some broken enemies, and that was it. So over the last few years, they've basically reflushed the entire map, reflushed the entire questing system, added a whole bunch of NPCs and characters for you to kind of talk to and like actually get a storyline of what's going on in like the West Virginia, post-apocalyptic world. So
Which one was the
uh,
Boston one? Is that Fallout 4?
Fallout 4, yeah,
Okay. Dante,
yeah, that one was awesome.
I feel like you'd be a Fallout guy.
I've never played any of them.
No, I know you haven't. But I feel like you'd like it.
How do you know?
I don't know. I just get the vibe from like stuff that you like.
Huh.
You ever play like
Interesting.
Skyrim? Or?
I did play Skyrim, and I know it's very similar. It's the same like basis.
You grinded
Yeah,
Harry Potter too, right? Like, well, like
I
Hogwarts
wouldn't say
Legacy,
grinded. I played it over the course of a whole year,
it's
whereas that's a game that's very
kind of a
beatable
grind.
within like a month.
You invested time, I guess was my point. How much, Dave, do you think that like the having played like all the games, like all the different variations of the game, how much does the show actually tie in or relate?
very well. There's a lot of like Easter eggs and callbacks and just like small things that they'll add, like Easter eggs into the background that like don't really necessarily have a purpose into like the scene or the storyline, but it's like you just see something like, oh shit, like that's cool. And I know it was just kind of like a funny line at the end of the third episode, the last one I saw, where Walter Goggins' character, like they're searching for this thing, it's right in front of them, and then all of a sudden it kind of gets taken away, and let's just, without spoilers, is like hidden and out of reach. Um, and then he just kind of like turns around and like starts like dragging the girl with him, and he's just like, yeah, thou will not get like sidetracked by bullshit. And it's just kind of like a call to like, I'm gonna go do a side quest right now and like take a break from the main mission. That was
Mhm.
pretty cool.
Do you think with it, the fact that it ties in, like it has all those Easter eggs, do you think it makes it harder for somebody who hasn't played the games to be into it?
No, I don't think so. I think the storyline is pretty well written and easy to follow. I think it's definitely easier to get hooked being a fan of the games, but I do think that it has the ability to stand on its own for people who don't. Um, and I think when it comes to like a video game adaptation of um, either a show or a movie, uh, from what I've seen so far, it ranks near the top.
I definitely don't think you've had to play the games just based on what I've heard. There's somebody that we all know that is watching the show that definitely has never played a video game, I don't think, in his life. Um,
Yeah,
and
okay.
he's
Yeah,
super high on the show.
I know
Yeah,
you're talking about.
yeah.
Yeah, he probably thinks it's the craziest thing he's ever seen, right?
Yeah,
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 yeah, okay.
yeah, he loves it.
Do you, where do you think the turning point was for video game adaptations?
You wanna
I
say, like,
mean,
as of recently?
Well, historically, until recently, if something was getting adapted from a video game, it was assumed and usually proven to be bad, right?
Tomb
The
Raider?
Last of Us
Was Tomb
definitely
Raider
hit.
bad?
Well, so I like Tomb Raider a lot. I think that was where quality started to change, but it didn't result in success. I think
'Cause
funny
I would say more
enough,
recently, you would have, like, Uncharted or, like he said, The Last of Us
yeah.
that kinda started making that more popularized.
I think truthfully, a lot of it has to be tied into Marvel, in all honesty. Not that that's a video game adaptation, but I think in the sense of like seeing what source material that wasn't seen to be successful ended up doing for the box office when done correctly has led them to being a lot more willing to take the risk on a video game property and not feel the need to change things to such a level, right? um, And that's why
I think that's what it comes down to. It's sticking to the source material that the fandom loves, and not just trying to like change and alter it to fit what you think the general population will like,
because
because then you're just going to miss on both fronts.
like the Resident Evil Raccoon City movie did not have the success that the Resident Evil franchise did previously with Mila Jovovich, but I would say it's a better quality movie for the fans of the franchise. And that's where like the quality turned. And now I think you're starting to see it be the quality has turned, and now it's starting to have the returns are starting to be seen on it, because as the quality was turning, people still didn't trust it. People are starting to have trust that you're doing it correctly. Now people are starting to invest time. Dante, look at like Twisted Metal. We both
Mm.
we both were very high on Twisted Metal and how good that ended up being. And I think 10 years ago, even if it was good, people wouldn't have watched it. And 10 years ago, it probably would have just been bad. But it ends up being now, between The Last of Us, between Twisted Metal, and it sounds like Fallout, you're getting these properties, and maybe we'll see, what's the Kevin Hart one coming out?
Borderlands.
Borderlands.
Oh yeah.
What that ends up doing from a success standpoint. I don't know what you guys' level of anticipation is for that. Like, I didn't play the game. I can't say.
I never played the game, so I know the game has like a huge comedic aspect of it. So the casting of Kevin Hart definitely makes sense.
Well, and the whole cast seems very like diverse and like all like quirky and weird.
I'll say I'm a big fan of the game. I know you guys never really went to like PAX East in Boston,
No.
but Gearbox and like Borderlands would generally have like one of the main stage like presentations every year. And the director of the movie came one year and kind of like gave an outline of what he was looking to do from the game to the movie, and it definitely got my expectations up. I think it's Eli Roth, so I've liked a lot of the stuff that he's done. I am hesitant about the casting of the movie. I don't really particularly care for, I think, anybody on the cast other than like Jack Black as Claptrap. I think everybody else kind of doesn't fit
I didn't know Eli
the
Roth
roles.
was doing this.
Yeah.
You know who Eli Roth is, Dante?
Nope, no idea.
Thanksgiving.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
So that gives me some optimism, because I'm kind of where you're at, Dave, where like the cast hasn't jumped off the screen to me. Kevin Hart, Jamie Lee Curtis, Jack Black. Who's the younger girl?
She was the girl in Barbie. I just don't know her name. She was like the daughter.
Yeah, I can't pull her name right now.
Is it America Ferrera?
No, that's the mother.
No.
Oh.
That's her mom in that movie. Yeah, the cat, but it's it's an ensemble cast. We'll see. Like, as long as it's not like super Kevin Hart dominated, I think it'll be probably okay. I don't have high expectations on it being like my favorite movie of the year, but I anticipate it being like a fun movie overall. I'm hoping it's not too long. I don't know what the length is, because I think that'll dictate how much I think it ends up being good. If it tries to stick around too long, that'll be a problem.
I think a movie like this is bested around like an hour 45.
Yeah. Sub 2 hours is all I ask from basically any movie now that isn't like a premiere marquee film. Like, sub 2 hours is what I want from you.
Yeah.
Actually, I just read, I don't have the numbers in front of me, there was like a survey done, and I think that was the general consensus for people, that they would all prefer that movies would be under, like 60% of people would prefer that movies were under 2 hours. And in very rare instances would they want to see movies that are 2.5 to 3 hours long.
Yeah.
Do you I'll throw something out there. Dante, do you want part two?
Oh fuck! What else did you go see? Did you go see Tarot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
You didn't see it?
Gonna go watch it. I was gonna go watch it. I didn't watch it.
Damn. That's a shame.
Yeah. True shame.
It's not good. Like, if you
And that's largely
like,
the reason I didn't go watch it.
Yes.
Because I didn't expect you to see Unsung Heroes. I expected you to see that. So I was like, we'll still be even.
Yeah. Unsung Hero, better movie. Tarot, very much just like a paint by numbers PG-13 horror movie. It's got the kid from Spider-Man in it though. The Asian kid. What's his name?
Oh, okay,
No,
yeah, the
Ned.
friend.
Yeah, Ned. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in it. He's like the comedic relief. He's all right. He's pretty good in it. None of the other actors stand out. But yeah, nothing like particularly good. But I was mentioning earlier viewing experiences in the movies. Both this and Unsung Heroes for me, interesting viewing experiences. So Tarot, uh, the group of 4 like teenagers in the movie with me in the row in front of me, and by like an hour and 20 or hour and 10 minutes into the movie, there was probably like 20 minutes left. One of the kids just was standing up, like intensely into this movie.
Not like standing up like he was about to leave, just standing up.
No, like standing up, like intently watching. And I will say this, it's the darkest theater I've ever been into. Like there was no
A lot
bright.
of black people.
Yeah, no, I was in Braintree, dude. Obviously not. The like the movie itself is primarily at night or in dark rooms. So like the theater
Gotcha.
itself, I showed up a little late because I got out of work later than I wanted to, and it was like the movie started at 4:15 and I didn't leave work till like 4:10, 4:15. So I got to the movie probably like 5-10 minutes late or so. So it was like
Okay.
completely like pitch black walking in. I didn't even sit in my seats because I was like, I can't see if people are sitting where my seats are. So I just sat in like a seat I like the right when you walked in because I knew it was empty.
Oh, were you doing the thing where you're trying to sit more in the middle?
Well, yeah,
in Braintree?
I had the seats in the middle. I had one of the seats in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like these kids were so anxious during this movie that one of them got up and moved to the row behind and like sat down.
He was shook.
And then another kid was standing up, like just intently watching. And the kid from that was behind would occasionally get up and like go like talk to them over their shoulders and stuff. Like they were very into this movie. So like that was kind of distracting in a way. I was just like, and like I was like, this movie is not that like it's not intense at all as far as like horror movies are concerned. It's very like mundane. Um,
Uh,
so yeah, this is gonna like I don't have it ranked yet, but it's pretty much gonna be behind Night Swim. So at 21, I would say, in front of ISS.
yeah. Can I make a request?
No. So
I'm
also
gonna make it anyways.
So in Unsung,
Stop hiding your ranks.
in Unsung Hero, I also walked in like 5 minutes late to that because I saw it.
I did as well.
I saw it on Sunday after I left work.
Damn,
And
I was gonna ask you later what the first 5 minutes of the movie was because I walked in like at the birthday party.
a little before that, I walked in. So like I don't know why his concert thing failed so badly. I just know.
Yeah, I missed that. Yeah.
But when I bought the ticket, it showed that there was only 3 tickets purchased in the theater, and I was like, awesome, that'll be cool. I got there, and I saw this in South Bay. There was 2 parents with 4 young children sitting directly behind me. And
Noisy?
The noisiest. One of them was like an infant, like so they were like or like a 1 or 2-year-old or some shit. So they were just crying and yelling at different parts of the movie. The other 3 kids,
children under the age of 5 shouldn't be allowed in the movies.
Yeah, the other 3 kids were between the ages of probably like I didn't get a good look at them. I'm just assuming, but like between the ages of like 5 to 8 maybe or something, and like they were just like talking very loud during different parts of the movie. Like the whole beginning, pretty much, they were just like very distracting and annoying in how they were talking. And the parents, again, much like last week, Dante, these parents were not they were not trying to be quiet. They did not give a fuck. God. Like they weren't saying, hey, like calm down or anything. Like when the baby would cry, they would try to like kind of remedy it. But my thing is like, leave the fucking theater until your kid stops like crying. Because other than me, there was only one other person in that theater with us. So it was like
they just had no consideration.
Yeah, it was like a big go.
Like, yeah, there's nobody in here.
Yeah, it was like a go fuck yourself to the rest of us. And I was like, these kids don't even understand what's happening in this movie. Like the only parts
Yeah.
they cared about were the singing parts because like they could like understand singing.
Yeah.
Other than that, they didn't give a fuck.
That's not a movie to bring 4 kids to.
No,
Especially at that age group.
like there was nothing that they got out of it. Like, yeah, I don't know. It was just weird. But yeah.
Yeah.
So I saw that. Did you have anything else? 'Cause I have one more.
I have one more.
What would you have?
Old movie, but I watched Gone Girl.
I've listened to half the book.
There's a book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't know.
Pretty sure it's based on a book.
I mean, if there's a book, usually the movie's based on the book. I don't think they've written books from movies.
Yeah, they do novelizations of movies all the time, Dante. What are you talking about? Yeah, it's a tough hit, isn't it? Go to a fucking Barnes and Nobles once, dude. Like,
fuck.
Okay,
right.
Gone Girl. You liked it?
Yeah, I liked it a lot actually. What's her name? Rosamund Pike.
Rosamund.
No. Rosamund, whatever. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Rosamund Pike, like she is fucking great in that movie. Like very, very convincing sociopath. Almost to the point where it's like, what's she like in real life?
I need to. So, like, I didn't watch the movie when it came out, and it was when I needed credits to spend on Audible that I got the book, and I've like listened to a decent amount of it, but I need to finish it because I did enjoy the book for what I was listening to it. I also like I got that like Flight Attendant. Like I've got a bunch of those like kind of like mystery thrillers.
Do you even listen to music in the car anymore?
Yeah, because I don't finish these books when I get them because like I listen to like chunks of them and then I start listening to music again or something or podcasts or something.
Fair enough.
Kind of similar to Gone Girl. Dave, did you finish the Tom Brady roast?
No, never got a chance to. But
had you gotten to the Ben Affleck part yet?
Oh no, did not know there was a Ben Affleck.
I heard he was really bad, like the worst part of it. And that's where I wanted to know your opinion on it. That you haven't gotten that far. I just heard like he didn't like roast Tom Brady. Like he was like talking about like the like trolls online and shit. Like it was stupid.
Yeah, I went to watch it and then found out I'm locked out of Netflix again.
Oh, because you don't have it in your household.
Yeah, it's not my account. I was sharing it and it was working for a while. But
what if you get a VPN?
If I do a VPN, I think it doesn't work with Netflix. Most of them don't work with Netflix, I feel like.
No, I think they do because you can watch like the Australian version of Netflix to get different movies.
Is that how that works? Because I thought the way they lock it is based on like your IP and your location.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure like that was one of the selling points original. Like maybe that was prior to them making these changes with VPNs, is that you could be like, I'm somewhere else so I can watch the library that they have for that part of the world.
Hey, did you know that you could go to a store and physically buy a VPN?
Yeah.
I mean, I have a VPN.
Yeah. We sell them.
No. Really?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
With Norton 360.
Ah, I see.
So you can protect your internet searches.
No.
It's food for thought.
Interesting. Yeah, no. Not worried about it.
I watched the Anne Hathaway rom-com.
Oh,
The Idea of You.
I watched that as well, actually.
Yeah, I thought it was very good.
I actually forgot to write it down, but yeah, I did watch it.
She's great, dude. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
Love and Other Drugs I've talked about on here. Like I really liked her in that. Like I think she doesn't go into a rom-com bag that often, but when she does, I generally enjoy it. I thought she was good in this. I felt the only thing I didn't love was it's like the daughter agrees. So that people don't know, it's like she is an older woman in her 40s with a kid who goes to a music festival with her daughter and her daughter's friends and ends up meeting a 24-year-old pop star. And they start to see each other. The book that was written that this is based on was based on the Harry Styles relationship with Olivia Wilde. That is like a confirmed thing. So once the relationship becomes public, the daughter agrees.
Yeah.
And like I get that like she didn't know like what it was going to turn into kind of post agreement. But like the daughter agrees to this relationship and then within like a week, like it's like they're playing like Uno and shit together in the house and everything's all happy go lucky and fine. And then all of a sudden the daughter gets bullied once at school and it's like,
Shuts her out.
yeah,
Yeah.
like fuck you, you agreed to this. I tried saving you from this from the beginning. Like I tried being a good mom and not doing this. Granted, I fucked this dude all across Europe. You know, like I get that. I get that. But I tried shielding you from all of this. And you said it was okay. And now I have
Yeah.
to like end like a relationship I'm very happy in. I thought that was a little fun. You didn't feel the same?
No, I mean, I kind of was with that, but I mean, at the same time, you have to take into account her age. Like, she doesn't have that same foresight to know the ramifications of it. She was just very like, "Hey, mom, I want you to be happy," and then all of a sudden, it was like, "Wow, I'm getting severely fucked on this." Like, no, I'm not cool with this.
Yeah, I get it. Like again, like I empathize with the kid. Like that's not easy. Like everybody knowing your mom's like sex life. I I don't
Yeah,
like in the real world, and I guess I don't remember how the Harry Styles like Olivia Wilde stuff kind of broke out. Like I feel like people were more upset about that because of the fact that she was still seeing what's his name? Funny actor. Yeah,
Sudeikis.
Jason Sudeikis. And like he's so well liked that I feel like there was a lot of controversy on Olivia Wilde. But I don't think the controversy, from what I remember it being like that much around their age difference. And like this movie's very based around like the reaction to her age gap to him. Like, do you,
yeah.
like I don't know if I think that that's like the way it is in the real world. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it's more like to the point of this movie, people accept it more with men than they do with women.
That was kind of the message I got that the movie is trying to get across.
Yeah,
But like, yeah.
right.
At the
I
same
mean,
time, I think it's just like the internet's cruel, and if they have something to talk shit about, they're going to
yeah.
talk shit about it.
That's definitely what I think it felt more like. Is like this guy's in a pop band, and like his audience is so large that they were just gonna hate whoever he was fucking. Because you look at like Taylor Swift, it's like no matter who she gets with, they generally hate them until they love them, like and will defend them like to the end of the world, basically.
Nah.
You know?
You getting all this info from your Swifty fan pages you're on?
No, no, I'm not on any, but she's impossible to avoid. So,
For you.
well, you don't watch football.
TikTok.
You don't watch football either.
Oh,
Like that's the
okay.
other
Yeah.
half of this is like NFL became so inundated in her stuff too, and still is because he has like the number one sports podcast in the world. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think I might watch it again though. I liked it. I thought it was a fun couple hour watch for a rom com. Don't get enough like
I
premiere
enjoyed it, but
ones.
it wasn't like anything like crazy, I don't think.
No, but like I feel like you don't get enough good like rom coms anymore. It made me throw back on the summer I turned pretty. You know?
Mm. Back in the rom com bag. I like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good one. Waiting for season 3.
Oh god.
I mean, I know nothing about this movie, but I mean, just looking at some like screenshots, and I'll say, you know, I do love me some Anne Hathaway, and she does look pretty good.
Have you ever seen Love and Other Drugs, Dave?
No.
Check that one out, dude. It's fantastic. Her and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Mm.
Gyllenhaal?
Yeah, he it's it like takes place in the like early 2000s, late 90s, I think.
Oh, dude, I kept scrolling past this for years. I feel like on Netflix and just never clicked on
It's
it.
really good. He's like a salesperson at like a tech store who gets fired and gets into medical sales, and like he gets really good at the job when he starts to he's like a fuck boy, and it's when Viagra gets announced and he
Mm.
starts to sell Viagra and like crushes game. Um, but
Mm.
she's also really good in it. But yeah, they're both great leads, and like that movie's really good as far as like rom coms are concerned. Better than this, obviously. If you want to see Anne Hathaway, that's you see Anne Hathaway in that one.
Got it.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep working on my top 5 movie titty list. We'll come back with that. That'll be a
He's
fun
given the
draft.
expectation there are movie titties in this. There aren't.
Why? You think there's not movie titties in it? I'm saying there's movie titties in it. Loving Other
Not Anne
Drugs.
Hathaway's. Oh, I'm talking about The Idea of You.
Yeah, no, you see a decent amount of her in this too. Like she be fucking. But no, Loving Other Drugs, there's Anne Hathaway titty. Quite a bit.
Noted.
Because they also be fucking. Viagra came out, you know? Cool.
4 hours.
It's one of those nightmare scenarios. Anything else anybody got? No? Cool.
I don't think so, no.
All right, well, this has been fun. Dave, thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. Welcome back whenever, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
And as usual, check us out on any of the audio podcasts on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Bailey is now like, show me attention. She gave me 2 hours. That's enough. Until next week, bid you follow adieu. Oh God, you guys timed that up.
Whoa.
That was crazy.
Whoa.
I love
Not
that.
planned at all.
I love that. Dante,
Peace,
there you go.
For those with good taste.